Welcome back to Uncontested Investing. Today, we're excited to have Rebecca Smith, Vice President of Business Development at Radian Real Estate Management. With nearly 25 years in real estate and mortgage finance, Rebecca has played a key role at RREM since 2008, driving growth and leading SFR innovations. Her expertise in single-family rentals and client relations has led to RREM's success. Let's learn more about her insights and experience in today's episode. This is your host, Nate Zielinski, and today I'm joined by Rebecca Smith, Vice President of Business Development at Radian. Rebecca, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you hopping on that early flight and jumping right into the studio. I think this is going to be a great episode, so thank you for your time and for your insight to our audience.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Where I like to start every episode is what I find, most intriguing about the guests is how they got their start in this industry, right? Was it school? Was it family? How long ago was it? What was that initial memory that, kind of turned you on to joining the real estate industry and being a part of this?
Sure. So initially, it was in the mid-90s. I had a really close friend of mine that was living in Las Vegas and was selling real estate spec homes back before Summerlin was really built out. Anyone from Vegas knows it. So I thought about getting into real estate there, but I didn't want to leave Utah for long. So I kind of fell into it in Salt Lake City. I started in 99 in mortgage servicing. From there, I slowly, through early payment default, then on to REO asset management, loss mitigation, and then through various roles in vendor management, onto client relations and sales. So I've pretty much seen every level of a real estate investment transaction.
We love that. And that's why we have you on the show today, right? Somebody with expertise that's kind of been in a bunch of different positions and can know the industry from a lot of different angles.
Right.
I do have one question about Salt Lake City, actually. What's that been like? I feel like that's one of those areas of the country where we've experienced somewhat of a real estate boom. There's been kind of it's been a center of real estate investing, and I feel like it's a popular destination for people to vacation or move to now. What's that kind of like being in one of like the real estate capitals of the world? I think there's a couple, or in the country, I think there's a couple now, but Salt Lake City is one of them.
Yes, I'm born and raised in Salt Lake City, so I've seen the crazy growth. I never thought in a million years that our median home price would be what it is today. We can't build fast enough, and every corner of the whole state there's just activity building. So I like it to some degree. It's great. My home value is increased, but I definitely miss the small town that Salt Lake used to have. So.
Lots of people invading the territory.
Yes.
So moving to Radian specifically, 2008 is a popular year for all the wrong reasons in real estate, right? But a lot of people had to rediscover themselves, make a pivot in their career, find a new way to kind of survive and, post 2008, achieve that same success that they were able to prior. You moved to Radian right around that time. So can you kind of take me back to your mindset? Were you uncertain? Was Radian just came into your life at exactly the right time? What was that like for you?
Yeah, so actually at the time it was, obviously right around the downturn and the financial crisis. So there was a lot of inventory in the REO market. I mean, record-breaking levels of REO, and that was actually something that I wanted to tap into and grow my skill set. And at the time, Green River Capital was the company that was a full-time asset management company. They were managing assets for the GSEs and several banks and had that niche and entrepreneurial spirit that I was thriving, or striving to get into. So I made the switch over there, took a pay cut, got a whole new team, and then Green River Capital was acquired by a company called Clayton Holdings, which was a longstanding third-party diligence firm. And then shortly after that, so in 2014 is when Radian actually acquired the group of companies. So I've been with the Radian family of companies, I say, for in my 17th year now.
Mm-hmm. And that's something to be proud of, right? Sticking with a company, being able to leave a mark, rising through the ranks, all those are great things. Can you kind of think about the positives? Were there any challenges? How proud are you of being able to stay with one company or under the family of Radian for going on 17 years now?
Yeah, I will say it's definitely been a wild ride.
Keep it interesting.
Yes, definitely keeps it interesting. I will say that change is the name of the game. I mean, with the various acquisitions that Radian has made over the course of my tenure there, you're always adjusting to new things. But I will say that there's stability in working for a company, 5 billion market cap company, publicly traded, brings that security.
Yes,
And
definitely.
obviously, I saw with that a lot of opportunity. So they've really fostered my role and just our business in general. They see the benefit, and when they made the acquisition of us, they knew what they were doing and trying to expand the diversity of their services in real estate.
That's great. And you certainly took that opportunity and have flourished. As a vice president of business development, you're in a leadership role. What are some objectives for you as a leader, initiatives maybe, key things to keep in mind for you? What does being a leader look like for you?
Well, I try to lead by example, really just focusing on the success of those that work for me, work with me, and just the success of our company as a whole. Um, Trying to remain innovative and find solutions for our clients. At Adja, we basically are very consultative in our approach.
Okay.
And so I have to stay on my toes, help train my folks, and help listen to the clients and come up with those solutions. That's really the thing that keeps me up all night, is how can I solve my clients' problems?
Yeah. That's a good thing for your clients to hear. I'm sure they appreciate that. I asked this question and the next one about versatility. Leadership and versatility, I think, are two qualities that make for a really good real estate investor. So how has that versatility helped you? We talked about it at the beginning, right? You've experienced the industry from a number of different angles, positions, even companies. When you look back on your experience, how much does that help kind of the direction you want to go for the rest of your career?
Well, again, it goes back to the entrepreneurial spirit and the ability to be consultative. We are always expanding and diversifying our services. So when we started in REO asset management, that was the big hanger. Then obviously things have slowed down. Defaults are not where they used to be. Nobody's getting through foreclosure, not very much, not where it used to be. So we had to get into other avenues, and because our client base was mostly investor centric, we naturally moved into the single family rental, build to rent, RTL spaces to help investors deploy their strategies. We don't necessarily we're not necessarily investors ourselves, but we are there to support all the services. And that's, I think, where the market's kind of shifted now. I mean, obviously with low interest rates for such a long time and so much HPA, that the investment opportunities are thriving in different ways than they were a few years ago.
Being flexible, adaptable, all those things are extremely important.
Absolutely.
Rebecca, we're off to a great start. For our audience, we're going to take our first break, but we will be right back with Rebecca Smith, VP of Business Development at Radian. This is going to be a good episode. Everybody stay tuned. REI Inc. is the premier monthly publication for real estate investors. Dive into a wealth of expert insights and knowledge from industry leaders and gain valuable regional market insights, ensuring you always have the best information right at your fingertips. Visit REIinc.com to elevate your real estate investment game today. Welcome back to this week's episode of Uncontested Investing. Happy to be joined by Rebecca Smith, VP of Business Development at Radian. Rebecca, it's time to put you on the spot for the first time today. Hope you're ready for the Money Making Minute. The Money Making Minute, as a reminder, investment strategy, app, skill, habit, daily part of your routine. Really what we want to do from a guest perspective is extract something that you think helps you be more successful and lend that to our audience, right? So is there anything that you think attributes to your success that our audience can take with them into 2025 and beyond? Let's hear your Money Making Minute.
So I think the biggest thing is to be flexible. You need to be able to adapt to the ebbs and flows of the market. We've seen such shifts in the investment market over the years and just in real estate in general. So keep your eye on the prize. You got to stay focused and keep grinding. I think there's a lot of folks that haven't been able to cut the mustard in this industry. So you have to have what it takes and stay focused.
That flexibility is such a key part, especially for our investor audience, right? Different times in the industry call for different investment strategies. So staying on your toes, staying educated, not kind of having that narrow focus of what I'm doing now is going to work next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. And I think that's a vision that Radian certainly shares. You guys were able to expand your variety of services that you offer. How important were you in that role, or how important are you in kind of spreading the word of we offer all these things, you should be taking advantage of all the services under the Radian umbrella?
Sure. As I touched on a little bit earlier, I think Rating was very thoughtful when they made the acquisitions that they did to span the services that will complement mortgage insurance. Obviously, they are different folks. I mean, we're working with different customers, but they created the perfect suite of services. Now, how have I been impactful in that? Obviously, I'm out telling the story, which is one I'm proud to share. It's been very compelling. I think most of our clients see the benefit. I think the name stands for itself. We've got a long tenure in this industry, and I think they have trust in us as a trusted advisor and provider of these services. And then I think it's just, again, building on the relationships that I have and understanding the client's needs that have been able to get that word out.
For sure. Love that. So moving on to a specific category, something that you have expertise in with the REO management. What are keys to being successful with these types of properties? You mentioned back in 2008, there was a surplus and it was kind of a very popular way to invest. What are some things that you attribute success to when you're talking about dealing with these type of investment properties?
Sure. So we focus on trying to liquidate the properties in the shortest amount of time at the highest value for our clients. Obviously, when there was thousands and thousands of assets that were available, it was a little bit easier. You had more vendors willing to help. Now you've got fewer vendors and less money to go around, so it's a little bit harder of a grind, but you want to make sure that you think of the asset as your own. You're offering the best customer service, using vendors that are highly skilled and aware of the nuances that come with an REO asset, and any other vendors working collectively. You know, our title partners, our preservation partners, our contractors, our closing firms, all of the above.
A lot of moving parts go into it. So
Yeah.
I'm working with a company and a professional such as yourself with that kind of experience has to help people that seek out your guys' services. They've come to the right spot for sure.
Okay.
Going back to the business development side of things, as a former junior business development associate, that was my first position at RCM Capital to where I am now. Customer service was a huge part of that. When you're talking to your team, talking to potential clients, what are some of the things that always come to mind for you when you think of providing quality customer service?
Well, like I just said, I think making sure that you're putting yourself in their shoes,
Mm-hmm.
that you treat their assets as your own. You take it very seriously. You're meeting the timelines, being very thorough and thoughtful in your approach and your services, and then obviously always going 110%.
Love it. Love it. So there's more expertise from Rebecca Smith. We're going to take our second and final break of the episode. We'll be right back with Deal Breaker, Deal Maker. Stay tuned. Radian Real Estate Management has reimagined the future of full-service real estate solutions to support residential investors and lenders. From single-family rental to build-to-rent and residential transition loans to iBuyers, their team is ready to help improve the way you do business. Their suite of services includes due diligence, valuations, acquisitions, dispositions, and title. They leverage cutting-edge technology to provide investors and lenders with the information they need to be successful. With their long-standing industry reputation and strong financial support under their parent company, Radian Group, RREM is your trusted partner for successful residential investments. We're back with Uncontested Investing. This week's guest is Rebecca Smith, VP of Business Development at Radian. And it's the Deal Breaker, Deal Maker segment. Rebecca, so this is going to be a part of your career that really was a turning point, something that springboarded you and kind of launched you to success, kind of helped you where you are today. Is there a moment, a story, Was it, leaving a job, getting a new job, anything that you can think of that kind of helped you and propel you to where you are today in the industry? Let's hear your deal breaker, deal maker.
I'd have to say the most profound moment in my career really was when I made the transition over to Green River Capital from the servicing side. I think I was at a point in my career that I wanted more. I saw what was available through Green River Capital and ultimately the longevity through Radian, and just building the career in this particular industry was paramount to me, was a driver. And I wanted to make the best of the opportunities I had there within that organization.
I think that's a really important answer to hear for our audience, because it can always be about that next opportunity, right? Staying sharp for whatever's on the horizon. It's not always about where you are now in your career, but it's about where you can go. And I think you had that foresight of aligning yourself with a company where, not only did it make sense in that current year, but for, years to come in, the next phase of your career, if you will. One of the things that helps people in this industry get to that next phase can be coaching or mentoring. Do you have people in the industry that you see as mentors? I mean, you're a vice president of business development, so in your own right, you can be a mentor to others. Are you in a position where you're starting to give back and fit into that role? What does coaching or mentoring in this industry kind of mean to you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm lucky enough that I've been surrounded by some instrumental leaders and mentors throughout my career in every stage. Very supportive, even in my current role today. I do try to be a leader. I mean, I am a leader to my staff, but I try to be an exceptional leader, not only to them, but within the industry and through industry colleagues. And I think that it's very paramount to learn from others and to take that advice and to help be coachable.
Yes, for sure. For sure. That's a great aspect of somebody who's, willing to grow, willing to be coached, knowing there's room for growth. It's okay to have that self-confidence and know you're good at your job and what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, but always room for improvement. I think another layer of that too is attending trade shows and networking. A lot of times people in our industry can take what they do at these couple days of a trade show, and it helps propel them to success months and years down the road. I imagine for you in business development, it's very important as well, kind of spreading the word to your company. You mentioned speaking on panels, all those good things. So how important is trade shows and networking been to you, and how important can it be for investors looking to take the next step in the industry?
It's very important. I'll say 99% of my role is fostering relationships, building new relationships. Luckily for me, I'm a pretty social person, so it comes pretty natural for me. But you will never know what opportunities is in front of you unless you talk to the right person or you engage with the right group. These conferences are usually very well attended. You get to see people that you wouldn't always see. The travel is an aspect of that, but I would say it is very important for anybody trying to grow a business and build relationships.
Are you still a road warrior? Have you been able to take a step back a little bit? There was a couple years where I would just see familiar faces on the trade show circuit, from Florida to California to Vegas to Texas. Have you been able to kind of take a step back, or are you still pretty active in that
I am
regard?
still very active. It's funny because during the COVID break, I felt like it was on house arrest. It was really weird for me to adjust. And then after the couple years, once I got back to traveling, it was almost more foreign again. So I'm back to full speed. I enjoy it. I definitely are providing more opportunity for my team to get out there and do some of that. But I kind of feel like the face of Radian, if you will, at least for our services division. And so I feel it's important for me to be out there and to continue seeing our clients.
Yep. It's a big responsibility for sure. And I think one of the things that we talked about earlier with Salt Lake City is RCN Capital actually traveled to a trade show in Salt Lake this year. So, the trade shows are starting to come to you finally. That's got to be a pleasant surprise as well.
Right. Well, and I've been lucky enough that I've been able to sustain my career and not have to relocate.
Yes.
So that's just the flip side of the travel.
Yep. And so a piece of career advice, is there something that has stood out to you that you kind of keep with you as you continue your professional journey? Do you find yourself giving advice to young professionals that kind of look up to you or reach out to you for advice? Is there something that comes to mind when you hear that question?
You know, it's kind of tedious, but don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. I swear, everybody
Mm.
procrastinates, and I do myself. So I try not to, and I think that's a big lever in trying to accomplish things and stay on task and reach your goals. If you continue to be lazy and put things off, you're not going to achieve, and you can achieve so much more if you just. I like checklists, and I like checking things off that list.
Yeah.
And
There's something to be said about the motivational aspect of speaking and advice and, getting motivated. But then there's the little pieces of subtle advice like that, where it's just those small things that you can do day after day after day that kind of turn into bigger things. And I think, avoiding procrastination is certainly one of those. Moving on to goals, maybe that you have for yourself in your role at your company. Is there any big projects that you're working on for 2025? What is next year or the next 5 years, if you allow yourself to kind of have that vision that far? What does that look like for you in terms of goals?
Yeah, funny because we just completed our 5-year strategy plan. So a lot of this is top of mind. Obviously, the biggest thing for Radian as a whole is to bring shareholder value. So wherever we can do that and to continue to grow the services business. So that's really on my shoulders and the shoulders of my team and my colleagues. And I touched on it previously. It's all about diversifying and finding solutions in the current market that clients need that will help them be successful ultimately.
Hmm. And one of my favorite questions that I get to ask every guest, again, as we kind of take it back through the lens of an investor that could be watching this, they get into the industry, they get really excited, they start taking every call, working every day. The burnout and the grind can kind of catch up with an investor very quickly if they're not careful. So I like to ask my guests, usually people that have been in the industry for a long time and are very successful, if we're doing our job right and getting the right guests, which you certainly fit the bill. Is there a passion project, a hobby, an outlet that you have, something that helps you refresh or recharge your batteries? So when you're back at your desk or back on the road, as vice president of business development for Radian, is there something that comes to mind that helps you do that?
Well, my passion project has been up until this point my 2 children that are nearing adulthood. My youngest is about to be 18. So that's been my passion project. So now I'm reverting to myself and me as my passion and what's next in my phase. Aside from that, I think the biggest de-stressor or relief for me is I'm a very avid music listener. I love music. I love live music. I like to travel to see music. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of live concerts.
That's awesome.
All over the U.S. And that's definitely something that brings me joy and peace.
Very
in
nice.
the
We got any?
rat race.
We got a top 3, top 5 artists, bands. Anything you want to share? Is that too embarrassing?
No, it's funny. People probably wouldn't think of this, but I'm a big Grateful Dead fan, so
Okay.
I've been to quite a few Dead and Company shows.
Nice.
U2 definitely tops the list. It runs the gamut. You'd be surprised.
And I have to imagine, besides the arena in downtown Salt Lake, is there a lot of picturesque venues in Utah? Is there like any ones that stick out to you of like a great show? Like some of the backdrops out here in the West are jaw dropping. In New England, back where I'm from, everybody kind of crams into an arena. Tries to stay warm. Is there anything that comes to mind from the Bay Area?
I mean, in the winter, less scenic, but we do have a couple outdoor venues that are prime, and I've seen some amazing acts. There's one that's it's called the Red Butte Gardens, and it's up in this amphitheater in the gardens along the mountainside, and it is definitely serene and one not to be missed.
Yeah, no, and it adds to that level of peace, right? If you're in a beautiful setting in nature
Exactly.
and at a concert, kind of a 2-for-1.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, so back to business though. For Radiant specifically, or for you, I'm sure people have watched this episode and they want to learn more about you, what you guys offer, your services. A quick reminder to the audience, anything Radiant related will be in the YouTube video's description below. But do you have anything that you want to plug for yourself or for the company that people should be checking out?
Yeah, so I think that the thing you should be thinking of Radian for is all of your real estate services as it relates to investment, whether it's single family rental, build to rent, residential transition loans, or asset management, all of the above. We specialize in valuing your properties. We have a title arm that can help you in closing transactions. So think of Radian, and even if you don't know if we do it, please reach out to me because I'm sure that we have a solution for you.
Well, there you have it. For our Uncontested Investing listeners, that was Rebecca Smith, industry veteran, loads of experience. I hope you guys learned something today, are interested in checking out Radian's services and products. Rebecca, thank you so much for your time. It's been a treat being able to interview you. I wish you nothing but success at the IMN trade show and in 2025 and beyond. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate it.
Love it. For our audience, guys, please check out this video. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, all those good things that help us grow the uncontested investing community. This is Nate Zielinski signing off. We'll see you all in the next one.
Thank you for listening to Uncontested Investing. Questions about today's episode or the podcast? Email podcast@rcncapital.com and make sure to follow REI Inc. magazine on LinkedIn and Facebook and RCN Capital on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. See you all next time.